Thank you for the intro. So let me set the scene. I was asked to support the event today. So Carl thought, I'm going to be presenting within a room, small breakout session, prepare some slides to prompt some conversation, to discuss something that I'm not an expert about. Sat down this morning and read the agenda and realised I'm stood up here. So let's see how this goes. I'm not a highways expert, so for me to attend an event like this is fantastic. It's about learning, isn't it? And if we spend a day without learning, it's a day wasted. It's a very grand title, but it's been prompted by a bit of a bugbear of mine. I've worked in local government now for a little over 30 years. My reason for that is because I'm passionate about serving the people that live, work, visit the East Riding. And when those people get in touch with you, which they do regularly, and ask you questions, and ask you to do something to help and support them, my starting point is yes, I hope I can. And then I find myself having to say no. And I'm here really with a question. The question that I'm asked regularly, often daily, 3 or 4 times a week, and the team are asked, is, what are you going to do, Carl and team, traffic management team, about fixing this issue where we've got a road safety problem? This is an accident waiting to happen. So what we do is look at the data that we've got. And what we're using currently is data such as crash map. Looking back in history about what's happened before we decide whether we're going to intervene or not. And for me, that's one set of data that we can use, and it paints a picture. But the world's changing, isn't it? So the limited data that we've got now prompts us whether we're going to intervene or not. And that intervention can be minor, it can be hundreds of thousands of pounds. It takes a brave person, doesn't it, as a traffic engineer, and I'm not a traffic engineer. We've got traffic engineers in the room. Show of hands if we've got any traffic engineers. Okay. It's a brave person that's going to intervene where there isn't already a problem. Because my traffic engineers are telling me, well, if we do that, we could engineer in an issue. And I've got to listen to that. So the data that we're using, as I say, is data such as crash map. So elected member of the public gets in touch and says, Carl and team, we've got a road safety issue here. What are you going to do about it? We'll go to this data and we'll say, well, you haven't. There's a perception, but there isn't an issue because we haven't had a crash there. We've got nothing registered. But my question is, if they're coming to us and there's a perception, well, there's probably an issue. They're seeing something, and regularly they're repeating themselves. Something's going to happen in this location. So for me, this is where I believe we need to move to a much more proactive solution to deciding where we're going to engineer and intervene. And for me, this is where I got quite excited when we started talking about, and the sessions that we've attended, about connected vehicle data and how that connected vehicle data can help us, inform us, and give us a bit more of a safety blanket around where we decide that we're going to intervene or engineer. The Department of Transport Safe Systems approach, a strategy aiming to eliminate road fatalities by designing systems that accommodate human error, heavily dependent on data-driven insights to monitor performance and guide interventions. And I think that's a really key statement. But we need to understand that data. And this is why I'm keen to interact with the people that crunch that data, that provide you data in such a format that I and my engineers and team can understand before we start making decisions. Funding, it's something that's discussed every day, isn't it? It's limited, and it's becoming more and more limited. So it isn't cheap to intervene and create an engineering system. It doesn't matter how small it is. The amount of work that goes into it, traffic regulation orders, the cost thereof, when you're making a change is expensive. So we've got to ensure that we're giving the locations the attention that they actually deserve, and not just working on what's happened in the past. As was said, things changing rapidly. So for me, I want to understand where, with our limited funds, where best to intervene and to support our residents in making, even if it is a perception, making the highway a safer place to be. And this is the question. And as I say, I'm not going to take up the full time. I'm not going to talk forever. You'd be pleased to know. But this is the question. This is an accident waiting to happen. And myself and my engineers are saying, yeah, but nothing's happened, so we're not going to do anything about it. But what if something does happen? How are we going to be left feeling? How is that resident or visitor going to be left feeling when they've been banging on our door telling us? And I truly believe that the connected vehicle insights can make a huge difference. Where do we want to be? Well, where I want to be is responding to those questions that are asked every single day, with the answer, yes, I can see what you're saying. I can see what you're telling me from the data that we're receiving. Near misinformation, and not waiting for the accident to happen and then responding later. So that is it. As I say, it was a presentation to prompt discussion. Maybe part of that discussion can happen in the panel in a second or two with questions. That's me. Thank you very much.